Good evening, and this is the case study for Module 12, ED 852, Supervision, and we're going to look at the case study today. Summary of the case starting off. In this case, we are dealing with the evaluation of a staff member, Ms. Stevens. We are looking at the role as a principal and how to deal with this evaluation that, for lack of a better term, does not go well. After several times of observing Ms. Stevens, it's noted for having a lack of respect from her students and struggling with engagement and behavior in her classroom. After several observations, one final one is done, and it is determined that Ms. Stevens is not up to the criteria required to work in the building. And so before she achieves tenure on her final evaluation, it is determined that she will be non-renewed. After several attempts of attempting to work with through her lack of engagement, she was very difficult to communicate with on some of those issues. In the post-visit conference, of course, after telling her that she was going to be non-renewed or non-retained, she did argue, complained that she did not deserve it, the system wasn't fair, and that she would sue and take this to court. So ethical and legal issues then obviously I need to take it to court. However, to be completely honest with the information I see, I don't feel that anything was done that would be court-worthy. However, stranger things have happened. Ethically, I think there's a few ethical issues to deal with. First comes in the dynamic between the principal and Ms. Stevens, because in my instance, these just difficult discussions normally happen around the spring break time period. So more than likely, you're looking at about another 9 weeks of dealing with a staff member inside the building who knows they're not coming back and is not happy about the fact that they're not coming back. So that kind of throws a wrench into everything. I think the bigger issue here, though, is, to be honest, the evaluation process, as I do also feel that Ms. Stevens, while the way she handled it was not correct, the process itself is not really effective. So, to synthesize this into a sentence, in this case study, we are looking at the evaluation of a teacher that has been struggling in the classroom and, when approached by the building administrator, takes the verdict of not being retained in a negative manner. People involved, really, this one's really short. There's only two. There's a principal, us, and Ms. Stevens. Place, unknown school building, not really many details given. And the program, we don't even really know what age it is, so there's a little bit lacking in terms of that, but we can make it work. So review and prioritize. Okay, the conflict we are looking at in this case study is damaging to stakeholders in the building in a few clear ways. Obviously, the first is that there's a good chance teachers are getting tenure that should not be able to because of the poor evaluation system. Also, Ms. Stevens is a stakeholder, clearly being affected because, she is losing her job, as well as likely sowing discontent around the school. Several stakeholders have a vested interest in this because the students in Ms. Stevens' class, of course, are going to be dealing with a subpar teacher and have been dealing with a subpar teacher all year. So, of course, they're going to be behind. That means the teacher in the following year that has these students is going to have to do a little extra work to get them caught back up. And lastly, if the evaluation changes are needed, which I think they are, it will be affected. Everybody in the building by a new system, and administrators as well will be affected by this. Immediate stakeholders have been informed of the situation, being us, the principal. I think another person that needs to be informed would be the district higher-ups because of the threat from Ms. Stevens to sue, as well as, anytime you have a disgruntled employee, HR needs to be let know of. I would like to learn more about the background evaluation process, how they came up with it, because, to be honest, from what I saw in the case study, it's very short and very non-engaging in terms of giving feedback, setting up meetings, all that kind of stuff. And I think I do have all the information I need to make a decision. So looking at a few options here. So first, option number one, the first choice is that requires the principal to do nothing. It's not already been done. This option entails Ms. Stevens going out of school with possible legal action. This also leads to her quitting. Could lead to her quitting before the end of the year. And it leaves the evaluation process in place. Option two, the extreme step. I honestly think there's two really extreme steps. The first extreme step would be the immediate termination of Ms. Stevens the next day, and due to conduct unbecoming of a professional, and which is valid in the way she handled the meeting. I know also you could petition the state for removing of her teacher's license as well, if it got to be that bad. And this step would also certainly lead to dealings illegally or dealing with the teachers union, because I think it might be a bit excessive to go after her license, but I know some districts in the past have done that. Option number 3, I feel is the second extreme solution here, would be to do a complete 180, renewing her contract, giving her tenure, and then going forward and completely redoing the evaluation process and using that new measure to evaluate all future teachers. A big extreme, especially to reward her for basically throwing a pity fit. Unfortunately, we do that a lot nowadays in schools. We like to reward those that whine and complain the most. Option 4, the option 4 would be taking into consideration Ms. Stevens' words, and over summer moving to a new evaluation system, as it is clear to me if this system is not effective and it takes very little student growth measures and leaves very little room for feedback from the principal. Honestly, Ms. Stevens is correct in the fact that the system is terrible. However, due to her actions, I would not renew her. Option 5, with this option, I would gather a group of experienced teachers and form a committee to change the evaluation system. I would institute a mix of peer-weighted and principal-weighted evaluation system. I would also institute a mentor system for all new hires. As an olive branch, I would offer Ms. Stevens her job back on a 1-year temporary contract, provided she participates in the mentoring program and is open to changes in her teaching style. Of course, that would be written into a contract and signed. Of course, I would have teachers insert as part of the process a third option besides retention or non-renewal. This step would be improvement plan, in which meeting with staff member and team would be needed to draw up a plan to help the teacher improve. I put that in there because that's what we have in my building and in my school district. So, time to evaluate our options. Option 1, do nothing. Pros, easiest to all choices, obviously, and allows for the hiring of a new teacher, maybe even a better teacher. Cons, loss of an experienced teacher, possibility of a lawsuit, toxic teacher in the building, and working with an inefficient evaluation system. And also, you can hire a worse teacher. They're out there. They do exist. Option 2 and 3, the extreme and forceful ones. These both would solve the issue with the students. Option 2 would remove the bad teacher from the classroom. Option 3 would be a step to fixing a broken relationship. But option 3 would also be a way to improve the broken evaluation system. Option 2, the cons would set up for a possible lawsuit and issues with the teachers union and other teachers in the building. Option 3 would be giving tenure to a less than stellar teacher, and it would also be a lot of work making the new evaluation system. I also feel this would also remove authority from the principal, as it would be clearly evident that if a teacher whines and complains enough, then that principal loses their power. I see this at my building currently with parents and staff members and our administration. Option 4, the rework of evaluations. This would allow for a redo of the evaluation system that needs work. It would allow us for a longer amount of time to work with the new system. This would also allow for the removal of Ms. Stevens and mean that would be able to still hire a new teacher. Time consuming as it is, it would take a while to redo evaluations, as well as having to retain all employees on a new system. Backlash could come from the teachers who would know about Ms. Stevens' situation and maybe ask, well, if you let her go and you're going to change the system anyway, and what she said was right, why did you let her go? 5, teacher evaluations. New and better method of evaluation. I think more hands make less work. Teachers would feel more involved in the school and will increase buy-in for the school. This also gives a chance to mending of a relationship with Ms. Stevens. It's time consuming, of course, is a con. I think anything at this point, anything worth doing is worth doing for a while, so I need to fix it. But it is still a con. Backlash, Ms. Stevens would then become a problem, as she may think that she is above the rule. Participation, of course, staff may not choose to help. It's always an issue when we are dealing with the times that we're dealing with now. Teacher-led evaluations also run the risk of not being taken seriously. I still believe with all those cons, I believe the 5th option is the best, as it allows for input in a large amount of stakeholders. This option allows for staff members to have buy-in with the process. It also allows for the assignments we did for the class using peer evaluations, allows for better and more accurate descriptions on how teachers are performing in class, because their peers are going to be able to give better feedback than what a principal who's in some cases out of the building for 10, 15 years out of the classroom. So they don't really know what's going on anymore in the current day classroom. I think adding that peer evaluation point in there makes a big difference. And of course, this also allows for the immediate step of setting up an improvement plan if the team and principal decide that a staff member, like in Ms. Stevens' case, is just needing some guidance. I have known several teachers who are not bad teachers. They just had a few rough couple of years at the beginning and are starting to get a hang of it, but unfortunately it comes that time of sit or get off the pot, and districts decide to get off the pot and fire them. This also allows for Ms. Stevens to keep her job if she wants, as long as she agrees to participate in the new evaluation system. If she doesn't choose to do it, then you've made every effort possible to retain her and get her to work for you and get her to do everything possible. She had clear and very easily understandable goals to maintain and keep her job. And if she so chooses, then you have done basically everything you can. And if she does then further on bring a lawsuit, you have the evidence that you would need to, of course, deny that. So step 9, implementation. Step 1 would be to get the plan as I see it approved by the board and teachers union, as this is a change that deals with the hiring and firing of staff members, so therefore would require that. Step 2 would involve dealing with the issue of Ms. Stevens. This would require an explanatory email stating that I took your options into account and decided the new system would work. Then asked if she would like to participate in this new system and maintain her position in the school, setting up a meeting in my office so that we could discuss the finer details. And of course, I would have a member of the teachers union and or another eyewitness in there to make sure that everything is according. If she disagrees, inform her that we will not retain her services at this point. Step 3 in section 9. This would be forming the committee of teachers to design a new system. I would first go to the senior teachers and department heads and see if they would like to join the committee. I would also include at least 2 newer teachers to the building to encourage a younger prospective committee of 6 to 10 would be ideal. Ideally, I want to get some of those younger teachers involved. As a teacher who's fairly new to my building, I feel like oftentimes when they keep giving the elder statesmen, if you will, the leads or in parts of these communities, it feels a lot like we're just left out. I feel that way currently in my job right now. So step 4 would be to have the committee, once formed, to come up with a new evaluation matrix and find one that maybe even another district uses. And no need to invent the wheel here if we don't have to. And that would work for our building. Step 5 would be district and teacher union approval of the new system. And step 6 would be an in-service or professional learning day where staff would be trained on the new system by the committee and myself. Possible pitfalls, of course, Ms. Stevens not buying in would add to the issue of new teachers need to be hired. The committee not finding a better solution. This is slight, but still possible. I mean, very, very, very slight because the system they're using is terrible. The new system not being approved by the BOE, which is possible. More money if they had to do it, training, all that fun stuff. Finally, there would be some hiccups and bumps to work out as there is with any new system. I know when we changed our evaluation system last year or attempted to, it did not go over well, so we're back to our old system now. Informing, of course, teachers union and admin would need to be involved in the whole process. Teachers would be informed and trained in the system, and Ms. Stevens would be aware of the new system to help with her issues. If the plan does not work, I would plan on referring to option 4 or option 1 as they are both fail-safe and would accomplish the goals needed. Prefer 4 and then 1, but we'll see how that works. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for all your work this semester and have a great day.